Today we'll talk about the assessment of language skills. This would be the first episode of our talk about the assessment. In the beginning, I'll just share what assessment is. Assessment of language skills is an important field of applied linguistics. This includes the assessment of various aspects of language learning. It may be first, second, or the other language which people or students learn in a classroom. It may also involve the assessment of language use in various socio-political situations. For example, language use in the cases of immigration, citizenship, or at any workplace. Assessment of language skills may include the assessment of any of four important skills: speaking, reading, writing, for example, and it may also involve the integration of two or more skills at the same time. While assessing a student for its language skills, equal weight may be given to the knowledge of that language as well as the proficiency of that speaker or user in that specific language when he uses it. Sometimes this is possible that more weight may be given to the knowledge or to the proficiency in various situations. History of assessment of language skills is not that long. It roughly started somewhere in 1950s, and the pioneer studies which worked on this assessment includes those by Robert Lado and David Harris. And the earliest largest scale assessments of language skills includes one by ETS, and it was named as TOEFL, which we usually know as Test of English as a Foreign Language. Then it was launched in 1961, and as I have just said, it aimed at knowing students' English language ability who wished to study in American or Canadian universities. Later on, many other tests related to language assessment or specifically English language assessment continued to grow. For example, IELTS became a very popular test which is run by British Council or other agencies in Great Britain. There are various important kinds of assessment. For example, formal and informal assessment. Informal assessment is something which continues throughout the class. For example, it includes those informal comments or observations by the teacher, which is usually gave during the classroom performance of students. A few examples of such assessment includes the comments like "nice job," "good work," "well done," "did you say this," kind of stuff. And it is usually, as I said earlier, is embedded in classroom tasks and performances by the students, and teachers comments about it. Formal assessments are a bit more formal. They occur at a certain period of time, and they have a structured and systematic way of assessment. This includes certain techniques and a critical appraisal of students' achievements in language learning by a teacher. Then we have formative assessment. It assesses a student's growth in the forming of language abilities, and it occurs quite frequently or sporadically sometimes in the progress of language learning. For all practical reasons, we could say that virtually all kinds of informal assessment may be seen as formative assessment because it gives regular feedback to the student regarding his learning abilities and his achievements in language learning. Sometimes it can also occur when a teacher gives his feedback on students' progress in relation to his achievement tests and other academic results. Summative assessment, which is seen in comparison with formative assessment, is something which is done at the end of a course. it actually substantiates students' achievement in a certain course in terms of sums or grades. And we usually see it in form of final examinations, as I said earlier, which occur at the end of a course. Or we can also say that most of the prevailing L2 instruction assessment in most of L2 context is based on summative assessment. And this assessment sometimes invites criticism, as many modern writers believe that it's a formative assessment which should be emphasized in L2 classrooms because it may have a greater motivational impact on L2 learners.